I wouldn't portray myself as an especially worried individual. I make the most of my activity, have a genuinely 9-to-5 working life and spend the remainder of my waking hours giving a valiant effort to go out and have a ton of fun. I'm a web-based social networking maker, implying that I run accounts on long-range interpersonal communication destinations and produce mixed media content for them. I'm online constantly, indeed, however I've never considered that to be uncommon or upsetting. It goes connected at the hip with being a computerized writer, and it appears to be a characteristic movement for someone who spent quite a bit of her youthfulness on the web. That is the means by which I used to depict myself until I went through 7 days testing my feelings of anxiety and discovered that they're quite high. I've spent the most recent month driving #LikeMinded, BBC Future's month-long season via web-based networking media and its effect on our psychological prosperity, and it's made me question my relationship with my cell phone. Turning it on toward the beginning of the day and remaining wired is as indispensable to my life as garments and food. Is that propensity some way or another connected to why I am by all accounts so pushed? In the quest for information, I permitted myself to be a human guinea pig for multi-week, uncovering my feelings of anxiety and online networking use to my group and, presently, to you. I likewise figured out how to convince other internet-based life makers to get required to get a more extensive thought of our associations with our telephones, both inside and outside our working life. Critically, it gave me how I contrast with others, and that is likely what stunned me the most. The test. I utilized 3 unique screens to test my psychological prosperity and online life use throughout the week: a pip, moment and checky. The pip is a little gadget that gauges your feelings of anxiety by means of your fingertips, something that is known as your electrodermal movement. Second is an application that estimates how much time you spend on your telephone, and checky watches out for how often you check your telephone each day. Here are the outcomes from my pip, close by those of 3 different makers: Dhruti Shah from BBC News, Eleanor Dunn from BBC Entertainment News and Ely Gordon, who oversees web-based life for BBC Earth. A significant admonition here is that the test is clearly not particularly logical. For a certain something, we had no control and not many members. This entire test was progressively about self-evaluation and to discover something new about ourselves. I was the second generally pushed. The week wherein I ran the test was a genuinely ordinary one work-wise, so I don't know why I was less worried on Tuesday and Thursday than Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday may have had something to do with a group bar lunch. I spent my Saturday all over town and my Sunday at home, and, in spite of not working, I was similarly as worried as I was during the week. I learnt 3 fundamental exercises. 1. There is no end of the week impact. I had gullibly expected that my feelings of anxiety would go down throughout the end of the week, however mine didn't, nor did Dhruti's or Ely's. Eleanor in the interim was very zen, something I put down to all the yoga she does. Another partner, Mauro Galuzzo from BBC Money, additionally did the test, however over an alternate period, the week over Christmas, where he worked each day. His feelings of anxiety remained essentially the equivalent all through, which I believe is odd, as you would envision Christmas to be progressively loose. He was checking BBC Money's Facebook page each day, in any case. My weekend results could be clarified by the way that I invest quite a bit of my free energy as wired as busy working, browsing individual messages, posting content on my own records and looking through news feeds. I invested minimal measure of energy in my telephone on Sunday, yet a lot of time on my PC. On Saturday I invested as much energy in my telephone as I did during the working week, despite the fact that I was out the entire day and night. True to form, my web-based social networking use is as much a piece of the texture of my leisure time as it is my working life. I'm given 2 probabilities: I either go online to escape from pressure, or my time online is making me pushed. Numerous examinations show that pressure adds to a considerable rundown of physical and psychological wellness issues. Would I be able to accomplish more to release a portion of that psychological strain toward the end of the week? 2. I check my telephone a lot. Eleanor checks her telephone around 70 times each day by and large. Fantastically, Dhruti just checks hers between 7 or 8 times each day. Her rapid email reactions make me believe she's on her PC a great deal rather, and in numerous up-close and personal gatherings. Research shows that youngsters check their telephones around 85 times each day, so Eleanor's utilization is normal, as is Ely, who demonstrated comparative outcomes. Mine recounts to an alternate story. On Saturday I checked in an incredible multiple times. My day-by-day normal for my working week was 129, and on Sunday I dealt with a similarly irrelevant multiple times. Remember that I check my telephone this regularly all the while to PC use. During the week I'm on my PC in any event 6 hours every day. I do so this regularly partially in light of the fact that I get heaps of notices. Running 9 online life accounts over my work and individual life implies I'm immersed. I converse with my companions on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. I even get ghost vibrations where I think I've felt or heard my telephone liven up when it hasn't. I'm less stressed over this disclosure, as I've understood that the occasions you check your telephone doesn't associate with screen time. My dull checking is ideally an indication of routine use as opposed to an issue as such. On Tuesday I invested the longest measure of energy in my telephone, 4 hours and 34 minutes, however it was the weekday I checked my telephone the least, and I was less worried than expected as well. Screen time is another issue, something that we shrouded in our Facebook Live with 2 driving analysts investigating whether we should, or shouldn't, be stressed over the time spent on the web. That merits considering here. One day Ely Gordon dealt with an immense 6 hours 11 minutes, despite the fact that she checked her telephone just multiple times. 3. I go on my telephone for idealism. I'm sure that a ton of my internet-based life use, particularly throughout the end of the week or not long before bed, is down to me attempting to overlook individual issues and stresses. Possibly this could be viewed as a part of mechanical habit, yet I realize that I'm not the only one in this. When I took a gander at online networking dependence, I alluded to an investigation that discovered cell phone use causes us to feel more joyful, to a certain degree. I love Twitter for keeping awake to date with news. I love Instagram to perceive what my companions are up to and to practice my photography aptitudes. Truth be told, that I find such a great amount of bliss on my cell phone is presumably why I secure my position so satisfying. I addressed Maggie Van Eyck, BBC Three's social media manager. She's simply discharged a self-improvement guide about her journey for satisfaction in a world characterized by her downturn, and I asked her how her web-based life use could fit in with mental prosperity. I think your internet-based life takes care of what you think about them, she says. She used to do what a large number of us despite everything do, becoming involved with the correlation trap on Instagram, sneaking on her beau's ex's profiles. She's since transformed her feeds into a sheltered space with heaps of brilliant retrievers, and believes that, on the off chance that you look through and feel yourself getting down and hopeless, you have to take care of business. Follow individuals you respect yet don't feel desirous about. Since grasping the psychological wellness network, I've discovered loads increasingly similarly invested spirits, not simply individuals who need to flaunt their wedding bands. In spite of this, she thinks she is online to an extreme. She authorizes detoxes on vacation, however thinks that it's difficult to implement every day. You should have the option to be responsive to carry out your responsibility well. What now? Much the same as Maggie, I might suspect I'd be more awful at my particular employment in the event that I wasn't continually devouring social substance. In any case, if #LikeMinded has shown me anything, it's that where unreasonable online networking use tips into a neurotic issue is foggy. One survey analysts use to make sense of whether you have a web-based life fixation has 2 telling proclamations, which are unquestionably pertinent to me. I utilize online life to disregard individual issues, and I invest a great deal of energy considering Facebook or arranging how to utilize it. The general purpose of my main responsibility is to snare individuals on BBC Future and BBC Culture's substance on the web. Isn't it in this way likely I get snared in as well? In the event that online life use is causing undue pressure, at that point perhaps individuals like me should begin taking a gander at our employment somewhat more like proficient wine testers do. We're investing a terrible parcel of energy online in a manner that has been connected to psychological well-being issues and even dependence. For what reason aren't all wine testers drunkards? They discover a work-life balance, have limits set up and comprehend where the cut-off points are. They even take apparently littler portions like spitting wine into a close-by can. I'm truly satisfied that I did this investigation. Contrasting myself with others has caused me to assess and consider how I could distress. As a feature of #LikeMinded, we're asking you, our perusers, what tips you have for a sound and upbeat life via web-based networking media. We trust this has urged you to consider your own online propensities. With respect to me, something discloses to me that I won't put my telephone down at any point in the near future.